Right.
That was also part of my pick, was that Sam was going to, have a couple turnovers. And but hats off to him. We'll talk about Sam, but hats off to Sam. After 20 turnovers in the regular season, 0 in 3 playoff games, and for him and for the team. So,
let's talk about Sam. I felt going in that the Seahawks would score more against the Patriots defense than the Patriots would score against the Seattle defense, and that came out to be right, and that's why I won our pick'em prediction thing for this year. Just got to get
that's just drop it in real subtle. It all happened that way that I, the way that I. Anyway, no, you're right. You were 100% right.
Sam Darnold. I mean, what should we think about him now? I felt like we were having a discussion with people. My watch party was, he didn't have a superlative playoff run, but he did exactly what he was needed to do. I mean, 202 yards, 1 touchdown. They're not great numbers, but like you just pointed out, no turnovers was huge. And last year we saw him running for his life. I think he looked a little bit better in that regard. I mean, when the Vikings played the Rams, we saw him, 9 sacks. They did a little better, but the pressure was on him. But he stood in there and he got the job done. So you really have to take your hat off to Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I said, about half, or after the game, I said, a running back got MVP. Is a defensive game, and the winning quarterback completed 50% of his passes. I said all we needed was like Peter Frampton at halftime. It would have been a perfect 70s moment. It was, the quarterbacks. There's a Super Bowl. Bob Greasy, I think, threw 8 passes or something. Probably the one they beat the crap out of the Vikings. Yeah. It's football, and he wasn't the hero. I mean, this to me this might be the vintage Sam Darnold Super Bowl, because he wins the Super Bowl, he gets a ring, and the doubters can stay where they're at and say, he didn't do anything. He wasn't the hero. He wasn't Joe Montana. He wasn't Tom Brady, but he was every bit a piece of that complimentary win as anybody, starting from, his first 2 or 3 throws, and Chris Collinsworth did a great job explaining how, New England was, right on top of the routes, and they're thinking they got to get an interception. They have to win the game on that side of the ball. Mm-hmm. Well, Sam's first couple throws, there's first downs were perfect. His first 3 or 4 throws were like perfection
in tight windows. Really tight.
And so he moves them down, and they get a field goal. So that drive in itself set the tone, or helped set the tone for the defense, which followed. And then the other thing he did was, I think he got a lot of pressure on him, but I think he was only sacked 1 time. So a lot of movement. We saw that last year, except for the last 2 games where they just got overwhelmed. But he had a lot of escapability last year with the Vikings, moving around and doing different things. He got out of a lot of harm's way, strip sack, fumble type plays, and whether it was incomplete or he threw it away, or they gained 2 yards, he turned a negative into a positive, or eliminated the negative. That's he did that. And the other thing is he stayed out of the way. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the story as a hero, but he wasn't the story as the GOAT. And so people can say what